Do you hear the noise of lemons? I bet you any money they're all students.
Ah, sure, they're heading on there now.
Good thing too, probably after some old nightclub.
Aye, oh, did you hear there's a new one opening tonight where Billy's Old Bar used to be?
Another nightclub, just what this tune needs.
Aye. Was thinking I might call another one.
Ah, are you taking a hand?
Ah, well, sure. I mean, what's the harm?
What's the harm? What's the harm?
Well, I mean, it's only a bit of drinking and dancing and all.
Drinking and dancing, drinking and dancing. Well then, I may as well call up the Dr. Sweeney at the nut house and tell him to get a room ready and a nice cosy straight jacket, for there's another funny on the way.
Ha!
Well sure, that's where you'll end up with your drinking and your dancing and your discos and your kebabs and your cocaine and your boom boom music and your lapping dances.
Oh!
Aye, believe ye me, it'll all end in the disaster. Always does, just as Maggie knew.
Who's that?
Was long before your time, and sure Maggie used to be just like yours then. Young, innocent, picked, but sure Maggie sure didn't end up well for her.
Well, tell me what happened.
It was a long time ago. Ireland was a very different place back then. An innocent place, a better place, a land of pure, simple, God-fearing people. People who didn't ask questions, who did what they were told and listened to the priest and said their prayers and went to Mass every Sunday and were happy in their own place. And no one was happier in their place than young Maggie too. And why wouldn't she be? She was young and beautiful and she led a full life. She was an only child, an orphan in fact. Maggie lived with her grandmother on a small farm in Glenbrack. She spent her days looking after her poor old granny, cooking, milking cattle, and in her spare time she did her bit for the local church. She was a fine girl. She even came third in the 1964 Mary from Dunlow. Yes, Maggie was a fine young Catholic girl, and she was well on her way to achieving her lifelong dream of becoming a nun.
Ah, right, well, seems like everything was going well.
Certainly was, everything was going great. Young Maggie was on the right path and her life was just perfect. But that was until Nora came along.
Nora?
Nora McGee, to be exact. Nora was nothing like Mary, and she was like nothing Mary had seen before. In fact, she was like nothing the village had ever seen before. You see, Nora had a lot of fancy, new-fangled ideas in her head. See, she had spent a few years living with her aunt in London, where she had been listening to that pop music and reading books, and she picked up all kind of nonsense about women working and not going to Mass, and all that kind of rubbish. Nora was a bit of a rebel, and she didn't half rub the people of the village up the wrong way. Anyway, her and Maggie still became good friends, and Nora even got Maggie listening to some of her old records. There was a change in Maggie. She didn't know what it was. She just started to feel unhappy in her life. Reading away her Bible on Friday night just didn't cut it anymore.
What was wrong with her?
Something you taken hold of.
What?
Evil. Maggie was worried away that she was straying away from the riches path, but she couldn't help listening to those records. They just sounded so good. This on its own wouldn't have been a big problem. A couple of hundred Hail Marys pennants at the worst would have cleared it up, but then...
What?
Well, the biggest, most glamorous dance hall this side of the Atlantic Ocean opened, the Make a Ball Lipper.
Make a ball lipper.
Aye, sure, there was no bigger attraction. People just would come from all across the country and see it. And all the best show bands played there. All the great Dickie Rock, Mike Tom, even Joe Dome.
Joe Dolan? No way.
Joe Dome.
Whoa.
So as you can imagine, there was a lot of excitement among the young in the parish. It was a rival of rock and roll and the devil's music, and it barely put the fear of God to the old folk. But the young ones couldn't wait. Maggie tried to ignore it all. She was already guilty enough listening to them old records. She knew the temptation of a big dance would be too much for her soul to bear.
Did she not go then?
Well, she wasn't going to, but on the night, the big dance, she was sat up in the room, gazing out the window and wondering what she was missing, and next time Nora arrived. She had a way of getting Maggie to see things early. She got back there, it was really no harm, just a bit of drinking and dancing.
Uh-oh.
So they both got dressed up and headed off to the big dance. Maggie was by far the best looking girl there, and everyone knew it. She was the queen of the ball. Everyone was chatting to her, and all the boys were climbing over each other for the chance to ask her for a wee dance.
So, it all worked out alright then?
Hold your horses. The story's not over yet. Maggie was having the best of crack, but she had yet to take anyone up on their offer of a dance. She said to Nora that she wanted to, but was still too shy. Of course, Nora had a solution, so Maggie threw caution and her pioneer pin to the wind and had a wee time. She was suddenly filled with confidence. All she needed now was the right partner. Then out of nowhere she spotted a young man. He was tall, dark and handsome, kind of like a young Daniel O'Donnell. He walked over to her, smiled and asked her to dance, and Maggie said yes. They danced away up to the crystal ball. For so long she had worried about her soul, terrified that she would damn her young self to hell for listening to that music. But now all that fear was gone. She was laughing and jiggling away on the arm of her young man, and suddenly she felt a sharp pain on her toe.
He stepped on her toe, the out gulping.
You don't know the half of it. Maggie didn't want to embarrass herself or the young fella by screaming out in pain. She gritted her teeth and looked down, and then she screamed.
What?
You see, when Maggie looked down, she saw something shocking, something terrible, something horrifying.
What was it?
Well, you see, this young fella, handsome as he was, he had no feet.
What? Sure, how was he dancing?
Well, you see, that's the funny thing. It wasn't just that he had no feet at all, it was that he had, instead of feet, a shiny pair of cloven hoofs.
Jesus.
That's right. You see, this handsome young stranger was no man.
No, you don't mean he was...
Yep, that's right.
a sheep?
But no, he was the prince of darkness, Lucifer of Beelzebub, Satan.
Jesus. Well, what happened then?
Well, you know how it is with the old devil. He just vanished up the thin air. All anyone saw that was Maggie crying and screaming like a mad one. Most people didn't believe her, but Maggie knew what she saw, and she knew it would haunt her forever.
Well, that is a good one.
So now you see what a hardness a drinking and dancing do to you.
Yeah, I think I might give the odd nickel on this for a while, but there's just one thing I'm still wondering about.
What's that?
Well, if it all really happened and if there's a real devil, then why was he hanging around Lifford?
I told you, sure, the Mega Ball was the best place going. Sure, the two domes.
Well, I suppose so. Hi, who's that coming in there?
I don't know.
Here he is.
How are you? Yeah. God, I think I recognize you. God, but you're that spit of a...
Daniel O'Donnell!
Ah!
You know when he was good for a bit of drinking and dancing.